Alright, so I wanted to get into something kind of different here for my next game and probably series of games. So, I've committed to Halo 2 Legendary at some point after it gets released, but I wanted to get back to something a bit more casual, less difficulty intensive. So, I figured the Sonic franchise was a decent kind of idea to maybe try to get into here a bit. I kind of had it in the back of my mind when my idea for doing the fan games Sonic before the sequel and Sonic after the sequel didn't end up panning out because of technical issues with the way, I guess, like Flash or something had with those cutscenes there. But alright, anyway. Yeah, so we'll get in here. So the idea I had, more or less, was I was going to do, pretty much the lineup of the classic Genesis games, like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, Sonic 3, possibly with some, I guess, maybe some fun, little differences here and there for some later games. Sonic 1... more or less be the straight up original kind of vanilla experience here. But I have some ideas for some of the later games, like for Sonic 2. I figured just mix things up, like do that one as the Knuckles in Sonic 2, and Sonic 3, maybe play do that one as Tails, and maybe something else, like there's like the fan, I guess it's like a fan game thing, like Sonic 3 Complete, which doesn't really change anything, so it's not like a ROM hack necessarily, but like it basically just makes a lot of things smoother and like fixes up things with like oh, that was weird. Sometimes jumping is not on your side with those. Yeah, get right in there. And then maybe even do some stuff like 3D Blast and Sonic Spinball. See how things go. So, I'm gonna try to do Emeralds. It's gonna be hard for me to absolutely guarantee my success, because especially in like Sonic 1 and like Sonic 2, Sonic 1 is just because like I always thought these Emerald stages were kind of jank and really annoying by and large. Like this first one isn't too bad, but after this, like things can like go bad for you in a hurry. And since it's actually been quite a while since I played Sonic, pretty much most of the Sonic games, like I used to play them quite often, but for one reason or another, I haven't put aside time for revisiting these games in a surprisingly long amount of time. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's been sort of like, keeping me from doing it, but So yes, like Sonic 3 Knuckles, I'm still reasonably confident about getting like all the emeralds and super emeralds in that one. But yeah, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 are sort of like the big question marks. If I do 3D Blast, that one is actually surprisingly easy. Like the biggest challenge with that one is just making sure you trying to remember where the entrances to the actual bonus stages are in that game, because the emeralds in 3D Blast are, at least in the Genesis version anyway, are insanely easy. So, and Sonic Spinball, emeralds are kind of like just necessary collection things for beating each level, so that doesn't really make a difference, but... Alright, let's see how we do in number 2. And, you know, it's like I almost failed it, like, instantly. Alright. Okay, so at least we're in here, so we might be okay. No, or, you know, as I instantly jump out. So you gotta be careful with touching those things, like the reverses and the speed ups there. Alright, 2 for 2. So with Sonic 1, you technically have 12 attempts, because you get 2 for each zone, because you can't enter them from the third act, because it's just the, you know, they have the boss battle instead of a signpost at the end. So it's also a good idea to try to get them done as much as you can early on, because trying to get 50 rings to the end of Acts 1 and 2 of Scrap Ring Zone is an annoying nightmare, in my opinion. And Speechu, which I'm surprisingly not going to be trying to take advantage of, especially since I want to do some rather precise platforming here. Now the funny thing for me is that technically Sonic 2 was my first ever video game, because that was what came packed in with my Sega Genesis when I originally got that. And I never ended up owning a physical copy of Sonic 1 on the Genesis. But since I had the Sega channel for most of the time, that was an active service. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was very nearly a death. Because, yeah, as you see, I was, like, clipping through the bottom part of that, and if I had kept running for, like, another second, I would have fallen through the stage. But, yeah, since I had the Sega channel most of the time, that was an active thing. Ah, I got greedy. You know, Sonic 1 was an option on there. I felt like most months you could find Sonic 1 as a available game, so it never felt too necessary to own Sonic 1, I guess, back then. And of course, as a kid, you know, I'm like, well, I'm gonna save up my own money to buy Sonic 1. Well, sure, but then there's always maybe a new game if you're not getting it as a gift. You know, maybe you want to save up money for. So, yeah, nowadays it'd be different. It's easier to buy things with your own money. You get a job. But when you're, like, what, it was like 6, 7-year-old kid, well, your opportunities for money were a little bit more limited. You know, money from, like, chores and stuff will only carry you so far. So, you know, saving up... Oh my god, yeah. So they... As you can see, like, those caterpillar enemies are, like annoying as pretty much anything you are likely to find, especially this early stage of the game. Avoid them. Like, basically, unless you have, like, a good spot to build up momentum to roll, it's usually more trouble than it's worth to actually try to fight them. But not a big deal. But yeah, sort of to double back on my thing there, since, you know, playing Sonic 2 first, when I played Sonic 1 then after that, one thing that was very weird was, you know, not having the spin dash available. Because, you know, like any longtime Sonic fan player can attest to, like, the spin dash just became such an iconic part of the Sonic franchise that, you know, not having it available to you feels, like, really weird. So, yeah, I'm not really sure, you know. any better ways to attack those guys rather than just either avoiding them entirely or, you know, just praying I have spot to roll. And here's always a nice little fun spot to try to remember is there. Build up on those lives. You know, Sonic 1, one thing I kind of remember is that more so than like Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 can be kind of stingy in the lives department. You know, it's definitely a big holdover from some of these like early days of gaming where crazy difficulty. So in theory though, you know, the early levels don't provide you with too much you have to worry about in terms of dying. And yeah, I think, yeah, later Sonic games, like, for every 50,000 points you would get an extra life. Sonic 1 doesn't have that either, so... There's some definite early installment weirdness that goes on with Sonic 1. But yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens. Like, I'm doing, like, reasonably lucky with the first couple Emerald stages, but like I said, these can get pretty jank, especially since, yeah, can't get to this middle. So yeah, Emerald stage number 3 is somewhat deceptively simple because, yeah, it's just this one area, but you have these bumpers everywhere. If I can, yeah, just roll over here and make myself a little nook and... Ugh! Yeah, no! No! Get back there! Oh, the stupid bumper, no! No, 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 no. I can't stand it. Well, we gotta continue. No! Ugh. Just trying to get back to the middle here, please. Oh! Oh my god. I feel like collision detection in these bonus stages is really jank as well. Like, sometimes you, like, kind of stick to certain objects, but sometimes you just, like, pass right by them. No! No, 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 no. Alright. Here's where we want to be, and I think I got an extra life. 3 for 3. That one was stressful. They continue that. In all likelihood, we will never need. Yeah, if I end up needing that, I will be in big trouble from a personal standpoint. You know, those that keep an eye on the clock, like I said, going for emeralds definitely slows down. Ow. Alright, that was kind of bad timing with jumping on there. So I figure probably once I get to somewhere around the halfway point, I'll split the segment. And yeah, there's that like kind of really weird jump that you can do where you just sort of like, you don't spin jump, you just do like a straight up jump. Alright, so here's where we're gonna, yeah, try our roll. Know your roll and shut your mouth. Yeah, so I figure, you know, once I get to the end of probably Spring Yard Zone or something like that, I'll sort of cut so I can probably divide this up into 2 videos. It's even my own time because, yeah, I'm not quite 15 minutes yet, but like I said, I don't want to have like crazy long video segments, even though the idea will be to play these games in one sitting, obviously. Which might lead to some instances where like the second segment ends up being shorter than the first segment, just depending, because in theory, you know, we'll have emeralds taken care of by the time we get there, so you just sort of count on the natural difficulty of the later zones to compensate for how long things take. So you kind of get this funny thing where, you know, Sonic is a game in a franchise in general that's sort of famous for speed, and I know I pressed down to roll, but there's actually a lot of methodical platforming in these games. Ah! My momentum! So, especially in Sonic 1, there isn't, like... Whoa, my god. Getting scared now. But yeah, there isn't, like, as many spots for you to, really, showcase your, speed as sometimes you might think. Like I said, especially if you wanted to be, exploring all these little nooks and crannies. And, for me, one thing that I was a little bit disappointed in, I wasn't able to, end up playing these with my, 6-button controller, because... Whoa, I didn't want to bounce all the way back there, but... Yeah, I wasn't able to play these with my 6-button controller for some reason, even though, you know, it plays just fine, but the problem I had was that since there's no headphone jack in the 6-button controller that I have, there wasn't any way for me to really get the audio recorded, because if I plug my headphones directly into my laptop instead of through my Xbox 360 controller like I got... Oh, see, and I missed it. That's embarrassing. Alright. That's a fail. I'm like so worried about making sure I kept my rings in and I missed the ring at the end. That sucks. But yeah, if I plug my headphone directly into the PC, like, my audio quality is really garbled. But if I plug it into, like, the headset jack on, like, the Xbox One controller that I use for most things, it sounds perfectly fine. I don't understand that at all. But, you know, there you have it. I mean, yeah, for me, it feels like, ow. Yeah, it feels like something that shouldn't make a difference, but apparently it does. And I don't know why I stood on this thing. For some reason, I thought that was going to be doing something totally different. So yeah, that was kind of like my, little private disappointment there, where I'm like, oh, cool. You know, being able to play, like, the classic Sonic games with a real old school controller, that would have been great. Then, yeah, as I do my tests, it's like, no, can't get my audio right. You know, and I guess, you know, without, like, spending money elsewhere, like, buy a microphone or something instead of using a headset, I don't know, but oh well. See, that little pit there, if you keep riding it, you'll end up, like, going to the wall, and the platform you're riding will just sink into the lava, and then you're doomed. So I mean, you might actually have enough momentum to carry yourself back to the start, and maybe try to, like, reset the I don't know, yeah, don't have quite enough space to whoa, crazy momentum. Better to, like, avoid that kind of situation as much as possible. And of course, another reason I really would have liked to use my 6-button controller or something like that is, I mean, while the Xbox One D-pad is a massive improvement over the Xbox 360 D-pad, I have no idea why I didn't have any momentum for my jump there. That was really weird. It's still not, you know, the best thing in the world. Alright, come here. Ow. Once again, I missed my momentum on my jump. Ow! Jump! I'm not sure if that's like some weird controller lag. Or just me being a fail. However, on the bright side, at least I was able to hook this up to my TV and record being able to look at a big screen instead of just looking at my laptop screen. I didn't seem to notice any additional lag caused by that, like I did with playing Halo. Alright. So, now we can go back to trying to get ourselves emeralds. Maybe. So, yeah, Spring Yard Zone is definitely a stage that most people will remember fondly. It's our traditional pinball, casino-y, and all that kind of good stuff themed level. Also filled with some numerous ways to get yourself crushed by level geometry, as we can see with these wonderful little guys. Ooh, that's right. No surprising sneak attack for that guy. Ow! Thank you. Well, we'll see what happens, right? Yeah, this is where I can sort of go back to mentioning the more methodical pace of Sonic 1 at times, having to worry about those kind of obstacles. And got to wait for the cycles of these blocks. But yeah, unfortunately, you know, since we still have all the global pandemic stuff, not really much else interesting to talk about because you can't really go anywhere and do stuff. So, you know, kind of just stuck with, as I've said before, you know, oh, you got plenty of time to do things like rent movies and what have you, but actually, like I said, I can only talk about, you know, movies and stuff that I've watched, you know, so long before I'm just like, okay, which thing have I watched that I haven't talked about yet? Alright, yeah, once again, those guys are kind of like the caterpillars where, yeah, you can technically attack them, but, you know, once again, pretty much the only way to do it safely is to roll into them. And man, I would kill for a blue shield right about now. Oh, never mind, I'm right at the end. Like I said, it's been a while, so sometimes I forget. My memory's not what it once was, as I've said before. Alright, let's see how we do with number 4. And like I said, I've kind of forgotten how some of these ones are laid out. But a good rule of thumb is to, you know, follow the biggest clumps of rings that you can find and hopefully not get stuck in a repeated cycle of hitting the... No! Wow. Yeah, and hopefully not getting stuck in a repeating cycle there, or, you know, going too fast and hitting one of those guys. Oh, God. Well, like I said, I can't make any promises, because really the only alternative would have been to, like, go back and, like, practice these things, you know, and, like, try to like, oh yeah, I'm so good at some of these stages now, but like I said, considering how jank they are, that's still not a guarantee. And it would have kind of killed some of my interest in doing this if I like spent like hours practicing the game before I bothered to like sit down and do them as like a video. I think there's some goodies over here. I forget exactly what, if it's just rings or what, but oh, and hurrah for randomly placed invulnerability box. Yeah, not quite what I wanted to do, but it doesn't really matter. Ooh, I'm a little surprised the game decided to be like, sorry, you're dead now. That kind of thing can happen, though. Oh, what's that? You ended up going through a platform too fast? Well, guess what? Yeah, can I... Now that I noticed... Now, of course, now that I want to get down there, I can't. I wanted to get that blue shield. Let me try approaching from the other side. No! Ay, this thing is annoying. And you hit them so much that I'm not even getting the points for some of them anymore. Whoa! Alright, now. Now I can't get out. Good. Alright, let me say, I thought one of those annoying roller guys was going to be coming after me here, but probably misremembering. Alright, we'll go up. And these nice flexing platforms here. Ah! Yeah, let's try to run straight up one of those weird things. No! Get up there. I don't want to get hit by some, like, really arbitrary enemy before I get to this special stage, and I can lose. So yeah, you skip over stages that you fail, so we won't go back to that one until we've cycle through the rest of the remaining ones. So, alright. Can be kind of unfortunate. It's like, yeah, I'd love to have another crack at that one, but what can you do? Ah. Follow the rings. No, not go backwards. Let's see, can I... Yes, get in there. Yeah! Yeah, and you can find those little gate things, and you know you're on the right track for sure. Alright, this one... Maybe. There we go. So that one was fairly painless. Some of them go smoother than others. Alright, so yeah, we're almost at 30 minutes here, so... See how quickly we can get through Act 3 and the boss battle. And like I said, I'm gonna split the video, and I'll do the second half of the game in a separate video. So that's where the real fun of the game can get a chance to shine. Yeah, things will be sometimes better if you don't spend like forever failing in special stages, but once again, that's just sort of the nature of the beast with some of these stages. Ow! Oh, stupid button lag. So I think I want to go up. And I think it was Act 2 where there's technically like 2 different exits to the level. like if you can either, if you're like down the lower level or you can be down the higher level, there's 2 different exit signposts, which I think is a unique thing that you don't find elsewhere. Alright, enough of this rolling. I want to get in here. There's nothing else to see here, folks. Get on that switch. Yeah! Yeah, I don't need to be too worried about my ring count, because, like I said, there's no bonus stage here, so... Man... I want these guys to line up a little better and actually jump off of here. Thought my jumping woes were done. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't go too fast with these guys. Oh, they're tricky there because it's not the same pattern ones like all on top of each other there anymore. They're trying to fool you. It's wicked, tricksy, and false. And as you can see, like, there hasn't been too much in the way of, like, challenging bosses, and oh my god. My momentum almost sent me right underneath there, and there's a bottomless pit directly underneath these guys, as you might expect. So, this is one where you're kind of, like, technically on a time limit. And you want to be kind of careful because, like, collision detection with this boss is a little bit weird at times. So if you're not too careful, you can end up falling right through them and stuff. There we go. And of course, he'll take away as much of the floor, and you could eventually run out of the floor too. But alright, so there's our halfway part of the game. So yeah, once I get to the start of the next one, I'll pause and pick up the action in the next video, where we'll begin with Labyrinth Zone. So, yep, until then, well, whenever you watch it, unless you're watching them back to back.